But a good mechanic has a lot of brain cells too. If they don't, go.
Welcome to the channel. We're doing something a little different in this one because I'm frustrated. I'm super frustrated. Trying to keep it short and sweet. I committed to being a mechanic because that's what I wanted to do. Maybe I'm different. Maybe it's weird. I don't do it for glory. I don't sure as heck don't do it for the pay. I do it because I enjoy it. I'm on a road trip right now down in Florida, of all things. That's terrible, I know. I'm blown away at how many different things I am dealing with that are caused by the carelessness of other mechanics. And these are simple, so incredibly simple things that I tend to think just about any person with a little bit of common sense could resolve. You know, you stand back and you look at an engine, it looks complicated, but when it comes down to it, you look at a bolt. A bolt or a screw is used to hold things together, right? You would think that bolt should be tight, right? If your light bulb in your house doesn't light up and you just changed it, maybe you should check to make sure that you screwed it in all the way. Maybe, right? That's the first place I would start. Maybe make sure the switch is turned on. There are a number of things that I've found just really frustrates me when I have to spend more time correcting things that other mechanics did wrong. Here's a little clip from today, just of a couple little things that I found. Frustration when this is your workbench and this is your shop. You're working in the weather, limited resources. This is where I get very frustrated. You're just trying to do an inspection. You're looking at your hardware, that everything is tight, everything looks good, everything is safety pinned. This side is great. We're gonna come over here. This one is loose, and that's a fresh cotter pin. This engine, I think, just got a hot section not too long ago. Anyway, that one's loose. That one's good. That one's good. This one's loose. Look how loose that is. Not acceptable. Not acceptable. Unsafetied right here. Okay? Not cool, guys. When you have a rod end, tight is right. These pieces of hardware need to be tight. If they're loose, it causes unnecessary wear on this piece. It causes unnecessary wear on everything. There's no reason for these nuts and bolts not to be tight. You should not be able to turn these by hand, ever. That's the purpose of the rod end. The rod end is where the rotation comes in. The bolt does not need to rotate. Any other piece of hardware needs to be tight on these engines. Every time I come on the road, I find either loose hardware on the engines, on the engine controls, on the flaps, on the landing gear. If there's a rod end installed, that needs to be tight. Open to discussion. Convince me otherwise. Why would this hardware not be tight? So educate me. What reason would it serve to leave this hardware loose? Why? Somebody please explain to me, why would this be loose when it has a rod end? Why would this be loose when it has a rod end? This one. This one. This is a pinch fitting. Why would that be loose? That makes no sense for this nut and bolt to be loose. Anybody? Anybody at all? Give me a good reason. So you mechanics out there, I need you to decide. What are you? Are you going to be a mechanic or not? All right. If that bolt is loose, are you going to tighten it, or are you just going to look the other way? Are you going to say, that's good enough? No, that's not. It's not good enough. Do it. Do it right. You're going to save yourself more time and money. You're going to save your customers time and money. At some point, one customer is going to come back to you, and they're going to chew your ass because you did it wrong over something so simple as just tightening a bolt. Tightening a light bulb. If you're going to be a mechanic, sweet, let's get it on. If you're not, get the heck out, because I don't want you. It's wasting my precious time. I would rather do it myself. Sorry to be negative, but it's just very, very frustrating. I'm trying to get things done and I keep moving backwards. Same deal. I just so happen to look down. My same complaint as earlier with the loose hardware. This is a hubcap. There's a big wheel nut that holds this wheel on there, not a big deal. But you look right here, you see this line? That line is from the inside. It's because the last guy didn't squeeze down the cotter pin. Again, that's just laziness It's lack of attention to detail. And guess what? You know, the guy doing the work, he don't care. He just throws it in, throws it together, runs off, and enjoys his day. Meanwhile, I come along, I see this. Now that's another job that I have to freaking do that I shouldn't have to be doing. You know, these cost about $1,500, $1,500, all because of carelessness. It's ridiculous. So let's show you all of the extra effort that is required to fix this. So when you're in the process of changing the tire, the wheel, again, you have a center counter pin right here. You have a big wheel nut. Can you see that gouge? Look at that big gouge on the inside of this thing. Thankfully, it did not wear all the way through yet, but again, that's a $1,500 hubcap. What does it take to get it done properly? Boom, done. That's all it takes. The one thing I need to do is ask the older generation, my generation, even the older guys, have patience and work with your younger kids. If they want to do it, you'll be able to see their motivation that they want to learn. They're not going to know everything. That's the downside. I need your patience to work with those kids so that they can replace you and carry on the good standards. So what would you do in this situation? How would you deal with employees, people, contractors, whatever it may be? If you knew somebody was not doing their job right, what would you do? Educate them? Would you fire them? Work with them? Would you have patience? What would you do? How would you get them to listen and learn before something bad happens? I need to know, because I have mentioned this specific exact thing so many times over the years. I can't get over it. I don't understand why it's so hard for these mechanics to get that part right. I'm trying to think of any other analogy. Really, the best analogy I can think of that anybody can understand is like a light bulb in the house. You hire a repair guy to come change your light bulb. He tells you it's fixed, everything is great. You go to turn it on, it doesn't light up. What would you do? Would you ever call that guy again? Would you call him and chew his ass? Would you demand he comes back and does warranty work? What would you do? What would you do if you were driving your car and you just picked it up from the repair shop and your wheel fell off? Years ago, wife and I bought a 1993 Jeep Grand Cherokee, fresh off the corner dealership. I'm driving this nice, shiny Jeep to go pick up my wife from work, and the right rear wheel falls off on the interstate. Guess what? They didn't tighten down the lug nuts. So what happened? Tow the car back to the dealership, where they promptly fixed it. They had to put a whole new rear axle in the thing. And I go pick it up, and now the Jeep is making a clunking sound from the back. What do you suppose it is? I take it back to the dealership, and they say, everything is fine. We don't hear nothing. Okay. We drive it back home, still making the noise. So I look underneath, and again, there is a loose bolt on the control arm. Why is that so hard to get right? It's a bolt. What am I missing? Is it just me? Anybody else ever deal with anything like that? Have a wheel fall off? Thanks for watching the video, guys. Please share this with your family and friends, anybody who's interested in turning a wrench. Well, take care, and we'll see you in the next video. Here we go.